right.
Yeah, I don't know why. I never bought any steel from him.
He worked for Chicago Hardware for his whole life.
Hello, everybody. How's everybody? Good?
Well done! Ladies and gentlemen, Dick Allegretti.
We already see how this night's going to go. I'm up here to first welcome you and also to give you a little bit of the agenda for what we're going to do this evening. Before we get started, there's a few people that we would like to thank that have made all this happen. First and foremost, Jackie and Mike Brenner, where are you sitting? Jackie and Mike. These are our hosts for here. Thank you so much. We'd also like to obviously thank the staff here at Westmoreland Country Club. Sharon Angelini, where are you, Sharon? Sharon is our Director of Special Events, and she coordinates all of this. She has help from various people in our office. Monica Peterson, are you still here, Monica?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, out there.
Come on in, man. Monica, come on in. No one, everybody's here.
Quit working. Stop working.
We don't need any more name tags. We're good.
Our Director of Alumni Relations, Mary Beth Fick, in the back right there. Also, I would like to recognize those members from the Notre Dame Executive Board. If you would please stand so we can call out your name and recognize you as well. Those members from the Notre Dame Executive Board, please stand up. Mr. Pete Newell, Mike Brennan, and Mr. Paul Colcard, Joe Stanley Collins. I know Mr. Keeley is here representing the Alumni Board. Chuck, if you stand up, please. Chuck Keeley from
Brad.
and Brad Tokars back there with his book. From the athletic side, we'd like to thank our athletic director, Mr. Mike Hennessy, for coming. And one of the best defensive coordinators in high school football, Mr. Danny DeFranza. Given that, Mr. Elwert, the president of the school, will be up here momentarily. I'll be back up for a moment, and then our real master of ceremonies, Mr. Microphone, Mr. Tony Cazot. Let's give him a big hand, please. With that, I'd like to introduce to you Ralph Elwert, President of Notre Dame College Prep.
Boy, if it weren't for the Lawsons and the Angelinis, this might be an empty room. This is quite a program here we have, and I'm going to be short. For those of you who know me, you'll be thankful. This is a very special group of men this year, and I'm particularly proud to be here because I know most of them. The only one I wasn't sure of was this Edward Lawson guy. I know him as Skip. You don't have a cousin or anybody named Edward, do you?
His father.
Do not.
There you go. But the fact of the matter is that Skip bleeds every bit as green as anybody else does, perhaps more. So when I started trying to figure out what I'm going to talk to you folks about tonight, it was a little difficult for me because this is my 4th year here. I've gone through 4 different speeches. I don't like to repeat speeches. So I'm starting to run out of material, so I had to think a little bit harder about this one. And the thing that occurred to me is, we're talking about heroes in this room, heroes to Notre Dame. But then again, every graduate of Notre Dame is a hero because they all leave with the same set of tools that every Don in this room had. And they go off and they get married, they don't make the newspapers, they're not in the headlines, they may not be as incredibly successful as some people in this room, but they're heroes nonetheless. When I go to reunions, which is one of the real benefits of this job, I talk to the guys and say, well, what did you take away from Notre Dame? They almost always say character. I left there with a good sense of character and a good sense of right and wrong. They talk about having the courage to do the right thing even when people aren't looking. They talk about all those very positive things. So what is it that distinguishes the people in the Hall of Honor from all the other Dons we've known? I was thinking about it and thinking, and finally it popped into my head. There is a story in the Gospel of Luke about 10 men who had a disease and went to see Jesus out of faith, hoping that he would heal them. Jesus looked at those 10 men and said, "You're healed. Now go back to the synagogue and tell the people there what happened." They turned and they started walking back to the synagogue, and as the story goes, on the way to the synagogue, they were actually healed. One of those people turned around and came back and said, "Thank you, Jesus." They were all blessed with the faith in Jesus, but one came back to say thank you. I thought, you know what? That's sort of like the men in this room, the members of the Hall of Honor. They return to give thanks. They return because they've had blessings in their lives, but they realized that by giving something back, they can make that extend to even more people than are getting it now. So you've given back in thanks so that others can benefit. That's what tonight's all about. For me, what tonight is all about is recognizing those men and all the men in this room, and I also can't wait to hear the stories that we're going to hear from these 4 men about their lives. They inspire us, all of us at Notre Dame, those who work there and those who teach there. They inspire us to keep doing what we're doing as we develop gentlemen of faith, scholarship, and service in the very rich tradition of our Holy Cross High School. You guys have our deepest gratitude for everything that you have done and will do for Notre Dame College Prep. And now I really can't wait to hear those stories. So I'm going to be quiet and say thank you and ask Dick to come on back up.
Now, real quickly, I think if I got off a plane in Podunk, Nebraska, and I said to the first person that I got off the plane and met, "Do you know a guy named Skip?" What do you think the odds are that that guy would say yes? Pretty good, pretty good. Tonight, we're here to honor 4 alums who have distinguished themselves and led a life of faith, scholarship, and service. Each of these alums have succeeded in their career. They possibly have been a volunteer to a charity or a faith-based organization. Maybe they've mentored a youth or someone in their community, someone in their parish. One thing we do know is each one of these individuals have provided outstanding service to Notre Dame College Prep. These individuals range from the class of 1959 all the way to 1976. I've known Mr. Lawson since my days at Notre Dame College Prep when I was a freshman. I've known Fred Angelini, who played football with my brother. I went down to a Don's on the Road gathering in Austin, Texas a while back and met a gentleman named John Murray, who's here with us tonight. And Frank Frisch. I met Frank a while back. He's been very involved in Notre Dame. And if you ever need an antique car, found, fixed, or sold, Frank is the man to call. Given that, I want to congratulate all 4 of you. I know you all personally, and I want to turn the microphone over to Mr. Microphone, Mr. Tony Cazot.
Dick. First of all, tonight we're here to honor 4 alumni who have been inducted into the Hall of Fame. This is the 11th year for the Hall of Fame being in existence. Right now, there are 98 members in the Hall of Fame. So with the 4 coming in tonight, they'll put us over 100. That'll be 102, which isn't bad considering that probably in the last 15 years, because when I was alumni director, I knew we had graduated like about 12,000 Dons. And I figured in the last 15 years, we probably graduated another 3,000 or 4,000. So we probably have about 15, 16,000 grads, and we've got 102 in the Hall of Fame.
Wow.
So you can see your chances of making this place is rather slim, and those that do make it, I think all deserve it. So I'd like a big round of applause for everybody that's in the Hall of Fame. Hall of Fame is the athletic one, which a lot of the guys
Hall of
are.
Honor.
This is the Hall of Honor, which is even more select. Okay. First of all, we have 4 inductees. The first one is Frank Frisch, whose real name is Francis, but I think he goes by Frank. Frank Frisch from the class of 1959. He's a proud U.S. Navy veteran. He's a retired communications manager and technical support manager with Illinois Bell and AT&T with 32 years of service. And as Dick related, he's a certified Harley-Davidson motorcycle mechanic. He's a member of the Packard Automobile Classics National Car Club. He's a member of the Rock River Valley Studebaker Car Club. And he's a member and current technical director for the Land of Lincoln Packard's Car Club. I read that and I said, Harley-Davidson, Packard, Studebaker. Our sophomores will love this guy. He's also a active member of St. Patrick's Catholic Church in Rochelle, Illinois. He's been married to Ann Frisch for 53 years. And so I'd ask you to help me. Please go Frank, come on up.
He's right here.
He's hiding.
He's right here.
Want me to talk now after
Yeah,
that?
you have to talk.
I'm all teared up.
You have approximately 3 minutes.
You guys pose for a break. Pose for a break.
There's 4 of us, so 4 times 3 is 12. So I get 12 minutes. Guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna make it difficult for them to follow me. First of all, I wanna thank everybody that nominated me for this prestigious award. Wow. I'm getting teary-eyed already, okay? I'm really, really honored and humbled to be part of the Notre Dame College Prep Hall of Honor community. Really, I'm humbled. With that, let's change it up a little bit, okay? I'm emotional, so let's talk about Notre Dame. I was in the class, graduating class, that went all 4 years, 1955 to 1959. It was tough. Okay? I'm glad to be here. It was tough. You folks don't realize what happened in 1955. In 1955, construction was still going on. When we went into those classrooms, you tripped over the workers. You couldn't hear Father Corcoran. You couldn't hear Father O'Neill. You couldn't hear Father Marcus. I mean, it was, we worked hard. Okay. Luckily, we were people of faith, students of faith. So the second, well, that first year, we not only had the construction workers, we had 3 floods. Okay? So that made it that much harder. The second year, the sophomore year, it wasn't much better. Okay? They were doing the, I want to say the cleanup or the punch list, as those construction folks know. So anyway, we made it through. A little history about me. In 8th grade, I wanted to be, my vocation was to be a priest. So I'm going to give you a little anecdote about me becoming a priest. thanks to Father O'Neill and flunking me in second-year Latin, that never materialized. I had to take Spanish for 2 years, and I've never used the Latin, 1 year Latin, and I've never used the Spanish, except in, I think, one of the jobs I had in high school. I worked at Pesci's Flowers and grocery store in Des Plaines, and there was a lot of Hispanics there, so, you know, that helped me out a little bit. All right, so let's move it on a little bit. I got 3 minutes, right? Are you clocking me? Tony, are you clocking me?
There's no clock.
Okay.
You're done.
Anybody in the room, tell me how many freshman students there was in 1955?
40.
40?
64.
540. Okay.
Flunked them out quick.
You know how many graduated in 1959?
540.
Less than 300. Okay. So, Mr. Elward had the right answer earlier, so I have a little gift for him. Okay. How about in 1958? You know how many graduated? 68. I got 68. Anybody else?
70.
You guys are both close.
72.
It was about 60. All right.
There you go.
That's for you. All right. Who was back here that mentioned it? Hand this back to him.
Are those keys to a Packers?
No. It was a medallion of the Holy Spirit. Okay, and I'm up here because of the grace of God and the guidance and wisdom of the Holy Spirit. That's why I'm here. I'm just an ordinary, average guy, okay? And my Christian Catholic education, along with my military family, has guided me through the years, and that's why I am who I am, okay? I do what I do because it means something to me. It means something to the people that I'm doing things for. So the end result is it's a win-win situation. And who benefits? Those kids that I will never know,
It's over there.
but who I hope I have helped and guided on the Christian Catholic path. Amen.
This thing back in? Okay. Thank you, Frank. You hit it right on the head, I think, that the idea of giving back, okay? Anyway, our next inductee tonight is John Murray from class of 1961. John's career, he was and still is the president of Nova Cell Power from 2009 to the present time. Before that, he was at Emerson executive from 1971 to 2009, and a Monsanto engineer from 1966 to 1971. As far as his education, he started out at Notre Dame High School, graduated in 1961, and went to Holy Cross Seminary in 1962. Then, I imagine he was like me, he decided that that wasn't really what he wanted to do. And so he ended up getting a BS in Liberal Arts from the University of Notre Dame in 1965, and a Bachelor of Science in Electrical Engineering from the University of Notre Dame in 1966, which means he was on the 5-year program, which means that he is a very smart person. He was a member of the Letterman's Club, and also in the Cross and Anchor, and naturally in the National Honor Society while at Notre Dame High School. Okay, he went to got his MBA. He went to St. Louis University and got his MBA in 1971, and then he completed his education in 1977 with a Master of Science in Electrical Engineering from California State University. As far as his personal life, he's married to Margaret Foley Murray. They have 7 children, and they reside in Austin, Texas. So I ask you to please help me welcome John Murray into the Hall of Honor.
Frank, you're right. You're making it impossible for me to follow the man. I'm very grateful to be here. I have a few corrections to make, is that, you know, I largely went to those advanced degrees to stay out of bars. Those were night school adventures, and, you know, but I think the curiosity that the high school presented to us, and the character that was represented by the Holy Cross priest, Father Conyers, you know, certainly represents that the group was amazing. And much like some of my classmates, unbeknownst to me, I had been encouraged to go to the seminary. And so they said, well, you know, it's an opportunity to try it out, so don't worry, just go there. But when I got there, there were like 10 of us from the high school there, all trying it out. And it was one of the best years of my life. And I'm sure you guys have those kind of experiences too, because I realized that the life of in a Christian environment, in a Catholic environment, works if everybody is there to help out and to make it happen. And I think this community here represents that. And you know, I will say that the demonstration of the Catholic way and the Christians' way is represented by our beloved priests. You know, Father Dotremont, Father Corcoran, and I'm sure if you guys were, he was always on the corner when you turn the corner, and he gave you one of these squishes on the side. Remember that? Made you drop to your knees almost. Okay. But the beauty of those men, who relatively had nothing of material value, if you will, but radiated extraordinary character and good manners and an affection for us, which, you know, we all know was probably very hard to do, given the fact that we were troublesome people. And Father Blaise and Brother Ronald, if you remember those guys, started a swim club. And I had tried other athletic events, and no, can't do that. Go to football, I'd be creamed in the first set of downs. And so what was left? Track. I tried track, and I had these big feet, or something. I could just hardly, you know, flop, 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 you know, clown feet. And so, you know, basically we were a disaster as freshmen. But they picked me up and carried me on, and by golly, turns out those big feet turned out to be flippers. And I was on the swim team, and they suffered through all of our difficulties. Got us.
Where did you guys swim?
Glenview Naval Air Base.
There you go.
And down in the city, the hospital there, the Election Brothers Hospital.
Okay.
Yeah, in fact, there we take the L all the way from the Park Ridge thing and so forth. And by the time you got there, your feet were frozen. So by the time you were in the pool, you were like kicking out blocks of ice. Those guys who had so much on their minds, you know, loved us and helped us through this stuff. So I think we all know that our beloved priests and the lay teachers and so forth did that. And they did make it, like Frank said, they made us who we are today. When Mr. Allegretti came down, well, I'll have to admit I was taken by his Italian accent, and now they're represented from Chicago, so he got my heart right off the bat. You know, being in Texas, you know, you forget the beauty of the Chicago language. And so I.
That's right.
But I was struck by the fact, and I could go on and on about this, but I was struck. I'd met, just coincidentally, some graduates, some young kids, And they radiated class, you know, and I know it's because of the instructors and the teachers and the leadership in this community. And the thing is, how do they survive in an environment with all boys school? What's that about? And how do they survive with the fact that it costs a lot of money to go here? And relatively speaking, although it is a good deal, we know that. So the heroes today are the men and the women who run this community. And they have the dedication and the enthusiasm. So I'm saying, hey, you know, I want to be a part of this again. And so I'm privileged to be here, and I want to thank you very much for allowing me to do this. Thank you.
John mentioned some names here that bring back memories from, I assume for some of the older guys here of Father Corcoran and Father Marcus and Father O'Neill.
Father Corcoran's like our Hesper. Everybody loves Corcoran. Everybody.
True, true.
Oh, yes.
He's like our Ted Hesper.
Well,
Sorry.
Only smarter.
Keep talking.
okay. I'm gonna keep talking because you're next.
Oh, I'm next? Okay, I gotta
You
get
are, wait a second.
Okay.
As you can tell, he and I are somewhat friendly. Anyway, the next inductee into the Hall of Honor is Mr. Skip Lawson, 1971. I think I was one of the few people that really knew that his real name was Edward. And so, unless his family, I knew it. But around school, nobody ever talked about Edward Lawson. It was always Skip Lawson. And I thought to myself, how many people do I know who would name their kid Skip? That's not very many. So you are special. I don't want to hold other people. But anyway, Skip was in the pep club. No, he wrote this. So what I'm reading is
He wrote his own Bible.
We had to. We were told to.
Sure.
okay. Going back. He graduated in class of 1971, which is an accomplishment. Okay, he was in the pep club. He was a football and basketball manager and a letterman. That's where I met him. And Skip earned a bachelor's degree in communication. Okay, communication from St. Mary's in 1975. That's the one in Minnesota, right? St. Mary's. Okay. In Winona. Okay, he worked for Rainbow Records. Fantastic, unbelievable. From 1975 to 1981, and he was also in sales for a foundation that was affiliated with Pepper's Waterbeds from 1981 to 1990. And after college, Skip got involved. I helped bring this about. But anyway, Skip got involved in the Alumni Association at Notre Dame High School. He was very active in the association, and that led to his current employment, which he is currently the Director of Business Relations at Notre Dame, having once been the Director of Advancement and Director of Alumni at Notre Dame. So, enough said. Please help me welcome Skip Edward.
Oh, you and me?
Why not?
All right, hold on.
Oh, you got something against me?
No. No walker, Greg, no walker.
He's like FDR.
Yeah.
Franklin.
You got 3 minutes.
It took him 3 minutes to get up.
Grab the microphone and throw it in your seat.
Now let's run that Budweiser commercial. I'll sign you. Hold on.
He doesn't have a PowerPoint.
There might be a presentation here.
Oh, it's no.
his speech. Do I have to?
I will wing it. You guys want to see the John Wayne impression?
Step aside, little lady.
This was Donald Duck and all that shit.
You'll find it. Wait a minute. Be patient. You'll find it.
Are you sitting?
No, I put it back there. It fits in that
It's
folder.
there.
Somebody put it in here, I'm sure.
In a folder?
This is a play.
You can edit this.
I put it on top of the